Yeah,
So
because anger, insecurity,
yeah.
all those things, and maybe you have an ex-spouse that is a pain.
Yeah.
The thing I think to remember is there's no value brought to the child by discrediting
Right.
the ex-spouse, no matter what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? If you honor them, and I don't mean you let them take advantage of you, but if you honor them as your kids get older, they're going to respect what you did.
Right,
They're going to respect the sacrifices you made. But if at a young age you dishonor an ex-spouse or a spouse or whoever it is in the family, then you're impacting the health of the child right then. So as they get older, now they've got to heal from what they went through. It just makes their life more challenging.
Right.
Hey guys, welcome to the Troy Gramling podcast. It is a great joy, especially this time of year, for us to be able to hang out with you. And I have a very special guest with us today. I have my beloved wife of 36 years, Miss
Yes.
Stephanie Gramling.
Yes, I like that. Very special guest.
Very special guest. That's right. Well, you've been on a few times.
Yeah, I have a few times.
Well, that's right. Well, we need some real wisdom. We invite
asked
you.
me.
We invite you. We get rid of Carson.
Yeah.
And we invite you to come and be a part of the podcast.
I'm honored to be here.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about holidays today. So if you hear something that encourages you or inspires you, just click it and share it, because it does make a difference. If you've not yet signed up for the notifications, you don't want to miss out on some of this incredible wisdom that we're passing down.
Yes.
Isn't that right? So just hit notification and also lots of content. Maybe if you've missed something in the past, encourage you to check that out. Our goal, as always, is to do life together so that we can reach our potential. You know what would be a great Christmas gift?
What? For you or for me?
I don't have, well, no, for our listeners.
Oh, okay.
Is the book.
Oh, yeah, it would be. That'd be a great gift
It'd
to
be
give to somebody.
Yes, it would. I don't have a copy, but I'm sure
It's an awesome book.
One behind me here, and we'll put it up on the screen. But
Yes.
just go to Amazon,
Yeah.
and it's all about potential. So I wanted to talk a little bit about holidays because I'm wearing my very special jacket.
Yes.
I only wear this at Christmas
Very
time.
old.
It's very old. This is from high school. Now,
So, yeah. So, how many years ago was that?
85. We're the best. It ain't no jive. We're the class of 85.
Yeah, I've
so
heard that many
85,
times.
95.
2005.
2015 to
15,
40 years.
25.
This is a 40-year-old jacket.
Wow.
Who's it made by?
Probably not too many people can say they have a jacket from high school
Yeah.
that's that old.
Turist, I think it's the brand. And here's the thing. The reason it still fits me is not because I'm the same size I was in high school. It's because it was my dad's jacket.
Mm,
And so it's probably older. I mean,
yeah.
older than that. But we had a high school play. And, it might be from my junior year. It seems like it was a junior play. But anyways, I was a mortician.
Mortician. Oh,
And I wore this jacket
very
because
nice.
I thought it looked like a jacket a mortician would wear.
And you're still wearing it today.
I'm still wearing it. Still burying people today.
Yeah,
so,
there you go.
but anyways, it is the holiday season, and we just finished much of our decorating.
We did. Took us a couple of days.
Yeah.
But we got it all done. We actually finished yesterday.
Yeah, and we don't mean just we.
Right.
We had some incredible help.
We did have some amazing help.
So we appreciate those who have helped us out
Yes.
to get all the decorations up and the lights on, and hopefully they'll stay on. That's always the problem. Is
Yeah.
keeping the lights on. I don't know about you guys listening today, but if you have some secrets, because I don't know if it's true in every house, but in South Florida, they don't wire homes
No, they
for
do
Christmas
not.
lights.
No.
Because when you plug them in, the breakers throw.
Yes.
And
And it doesn't matter what house we've been.
No.
We've been in multiple houses
Yes.
over our 25. How long have we been here? 25. We just celebrated
25,
25
yep.
years. It seems like every house. And I think, oh, this is going to be the one that we can experience Christmas without the frustrations of the lights. But
yeah, so far,
and
though,
so far, so good. But I hate to
this house.
say,
But we don't
yeah.
have all the outside lights that we normally
No,
do. So
no.
we will see. How about you guys? If you've got some hacks, put it in the comments. and let us know what they are, because we could
Yes.
sure use a little bit of help
We
when it
could.
comes to that. Well, a lot of times people think about the holidays and they think about the positives. So
Mhm.
we'll start there, and we'll start back when you was a kid. What was the best part of Christmas when you were a kid? What do you remember about Christmas?
Oh, goodness. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I guess probably like any typical child is just waking up on Christmas morning, and running into the living room to see, what Santa Claus had brought.
So did you give them a list, or did
I
you?
did, yes.
Y'all did list.
I had a list every year of what I wanted, and we had some traditions in our family growing up that we've actually even carried over into our family. But yeah, I mean, I think for me, just like every child, it's just waking up on Christmas morning and seeing what Santa brought.
We Santa would bring something, that we didn't know. But I remember a lot of years we kind of had $100,
Uh-huh.
and we had, this is before the internet, so we had the Sears catalog, and
Yeah,
they would put out a Christmas edition one.
yeah,
It had
I
a bunch of
remember.
toys,
Yeah.
and we kind of go through and pick out
Oh yeah.
our $100
Yeah.
worth of toys, and then of course Santa would bring something. And
Yeah.
one year, Dad got us these doom buggy things. They were called Odysseys,
Hmm.
and they were going to come from Santa Claus. And he was out there, I guess, working on them or whatever, and it ran over him.
Yeah. I've heard that story.
And we were like, "What happened, Mom?" And she would, this, because that was on Christmas Eve,
Yeah.
and then the next day his jacket's all ripped and all that, where it actually ran over him. And they weren't electric start; you had to pull them,
Yeah.
and we weren't strong enough to do it. So we'd have Dad start 'em. I remember it was snowing. We had Dad start them in the morning, and then
You'd run them all day.
until they ran out of gas. Yeah,
Yeah.
because if they ever stopped.
That was the end of it.
I got it, two brothers, and we first got them, and I can't remember his marker, Jimmy, but they just ran right into the side of the other and broke it right off the
Yeah.
bat. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that was probably
Good memories. Good
yeah,
memories.
yeah. We lived out in the country, so we had lots of places to ride them and all that. Really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
What about today? What are some of the things you enjoy about Christmas?
About Christmas. Oh, I enjoy. I mean, I think just the traditions that we have. We do Christmas pajamas. It's something we've done for years. Think about as long as we've been married. Where on Christmas Eve, we get everybody. When the kids were little, we got the kids, and now that the family's grown, we get everybody Christmas pajamas, and we open them on Christmas Eve so that everybody can wear them and wake up the next morning and pictures and all of that. So, but I think just, and trying to be creative in that and think through, trying to kind of match the kids' personalities with the pajamas that we've gotten them, especially when they were younger. It gets harder as they
Right.
get a little bit older. But I think for me, that's a good tradition that, we've always enjoyed. Of course, tradition that's always been a part of our family are our Christmas Eve services that we do here. And we've done it from pretty much about as long as we've been married, because we've been in ministry about as long as we've been married.
Mm.
But just, even as the kids were little and, trying to be creative and all of that. But, I think that's always been a huge part of it's not just something that that we had to do, but we've enjoyed it, even when the kids were little and them serving it, at one of the services and just doing it together as a family. And now that the kids have gotten older and we have grandkids, it's still the same. It's something we all get to do. We're very blessed to get to do as a family. So I think those are a couple of the traditions. Of course, there's some food traditions. I enjoy baking. What is your favorite thing that I make? I think I know what it is,
Yeah,
but
I mean, I like the puppy chow
Yeah.
stuff that you make,
Yeah.
with the peanut butter and the powdered sugar and
yes,
the
chocolate
cereal.
and
Yeah, it's good. And I think, when it comes to food, because we haven't always had like a Christmas meal, because a lot of
Mhm.
times we might be traveling or whatever,
Right.
after all the Christmas services. I think I I always like all the Christmas services. We've done Christmas Eve,
Uh-huh.
Christmas Eve, Christmas Day.
Yeah.
This year we're going to do things a little bit different. So I'm a little nervous about that, a little bit of an experiment
Yeah.
because we're going to do the Christmas weekend and then we're just going to do one like Christmas Eve service,
Yeah.
where normally we do several. And there's a different energy around Christmas. I think a lot of it's got to do, a lot of it's got to do with Thanksgiving. And, it used to be, I remember people get up real early to go Christmas shopping on not Good Friday, but on Friday.
Black Friday.
Black Friday,
Yeah.
yes, not Good Friday, Black Friday. But
it is a Good Friday, but yeah.
and then it got kept moving back. Then it was
Yeah.
midnight on and then
Right.
eventually stores were open. Now this year they're going to be closed,
Yeah.
so that may change some of the energy. The kids have gotten out of school
Yeah.
closer to Christmas than in the past over the last several years, and
Yeah, and that changes things.
Yeah.
That changes the energy around Christmas, and even now, thinking about like you were saying, Black Friday. So much of it's online now. The online version of it. So, and I think that has changed a lot.
yeah. So retailers, churches. If you think
Mhm.
about, it's not just here, but churches all over. It used to be.
Right.
Everybody did Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Some people would do Christmas Day like we did. Some people
Yeah.
do Christmas Eve's Eve, where today, there's still some that do Christmas Eve, but
Uh-huh.
not near as many services as they once did.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's good or bad. It's just different.
Right.
Used to have Easter and Christmas, and at least in South Florida, I'm not talking about the whole month, but I'm just talking about those special services. We used to actually have things planned for like 15 minutes early because it's the only service that people would come early to.
Yeah.
Now they don't come early to anything.
No,
So
they don't.
since we've lost that energy down here in South Florida, but I always enjoy, and I enjoy it because of the energy. It's always
Yeah.
exciting when people are excited
Yeah.
about what's going on and what you're doing. The kids are excited. And it's, there are different seasons that you go through when you've got no kids, when you've
Right.
got young kids, and then when you have there's that age where they really do get excited about Christmas,
Yeah.
and then they become teenagers,
Yeah.
and you can't make them happy no matter what you get.
No.
And then they become adults,
Yeah.
and that's another season, where a lot of times it's easier to make them happy because they're just getting started and
Right.
a lot of things that they need along the way. And then, the grandkids.
Grandkids, yeah.
And then I don't know where it goes from there.
No?
I guess to heaven. I don't know. But anyways, there's a lot of exciting things at Christmas. There is
Yeah.
a spirit, even though it's somewhat different, but an energy,
Right.
always able to do a lot of ministry, and
Yeah.
people want to help.
Yeah.
And to me, that's always exciting. But there's also a lot of stress,
Mm-hmm.
and it's easy to get overwhelmed because
Yeah.
you got all whatever it is your traditions are. Plus you got work. Plus you got
Right.
kids. Plus you got
Shopping and just
there's parties.
Yes.
It's
all the Christmas events and
Yeah.
yeah.
and it's kind of funny. Everybody complains, but they're supposed to be for fun.
Right. It's supposed to be a good thing. Yeah.
I always tell the team, I think to not miss Christmas, you have to plan Christmas
Yes.
to a point.
You have to be intentional about it. Yeah.
And
And I think, I think no matter the age of your kids or what season of life you're in, but I remember especially when our kids were young, we really had to be intentional about planning out the whole Christmas season, not just, Christmas Day but really the whole Christmas season. Because I think it is very easy to get overwhelmed. And like you said, in things that are supposed to be fun and, for families and that you're supposed to enjoy and all of that can become stressful if we're not intentional and really thinking through that and, and planning it out.
now I know our kids, as adult kids, they, whose family they're going to be with at Thanksgiving and what day at Christmas, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I know for us, I don't remember, for a lot of folks, I know that's always stressful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that ever really being, I guess when we
No.
first started Christmas Eve services, just because that was different.
Right.
And your parents were more celebrative on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
But-
That was kind of a tradition in our family. I think as we got a little bit older, it became more Christmas Eve as opposed to Christmas Day. So we opened all of our gifts on Christmas Eve. My mom prepared, a big not necessarily a big meal, but a lot of snack food. So that was kind of our time. So yeah, I remember when we first got in ministry and we started doing Christmas Eve, we had to work through that, what that looked like. And, it took a little bit of working through, but we got there. And, but yeah, I think, that can be a stress for all families, and especially when you get married and you start your own family and then trying to bring traditions and things from each one, so it really takes, you really have to think through that and be prepared for that.
And be, I think committed to your spouse, not so much to,
Right.
the scripture says you leave your father and your
Yeah.
mother. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. So then there's issues,
Yeah.
because like you say, you have to work through that. But at the end of the day, you're working through that together,
Right.
not so much, you
Yeah.
as the husband and the wife determine whose house you're going to go to, when you're going
Right.
to go, and all those kind of things.
Right.
Now, I think as parents whose kids are then adults, you want to leave it up to them to make that decision.
Yes. Yes.
I feel like we really work hard at trying to partner with our kids,
Yeah.
however they're going to do it.
Mhm.
Of course we want to see them,
Right.
and we want to see the grandkids and all
Yeah.
those kind of things. But at the same time, we let them make that decision of how
Right.
they're going to do
Because
that.
that's their decision to make,
Right.
as husband and wife, and they've started their own family. And so, yeah, so we've tried to really, like you said, that's their decision. And then, we kind of adjust around it. But it's not, I don't feel like it's really ever something that that's been a stress in our family at all. I feel like, it all works out. And, you just go with what, you just go with it.
Well, from day one, it's important to know that the responsibility of parents is to raise
Right.
kids to be arrows, to go
Yeah.
out and do their own thing. And, sometimes that means physically. Our kids are still around us, you know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? In the sense that they don't live,
Right.
thousands of miles away. But y- whether they're close physically to you or a long ways away, the responsibility, I think, of parents biblically is to raise them
Yeah.
to go out and be.
Right.
And I always say that to parents because I think that's the biggest surprise. I think the biggest surprise to parents, I know to me, once I began to think about this with our own kids, I thought, oh my gosh, is that your kids are going to think about you the way you think about your parents. And I don't mean, do you like your mom or not like
Right.
your mom?
Right.
I just
Yeah.
mean, um,
They're not going to think about you as much, in
Right.
a sense, because they have their own family,
Right.
and that's how it's supposed to be.
right. They're supposed to leave and cleave.
Right. Right.
And you've got to raise them in such a way that they feel free
Yes.
to do that, to
Yeah.
pursue whatever God's call is on their life.
Yeah.
And that's not always easy or
Yeah.
not painful. If somebody goes off to college or just like I said, chooses where they're going to celebrate or
Right.
how they're going to celebrate
Yeah.
or how they're going to do birthdays or how they're
Yeah.
going to do whatever. I mean, giving them the freedom to do that and them having the willpower to do it. And I think,
Yeah.
I'd speak to the guys. It's so important from day one to lead. And when I say lead, I'm talking about taking responsibility. Because if you don't, you're just going to have tension.
Right.
10 years in to be still arguing about whose parents you're going to go to when
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how you're going to do birthdays. I mean, to me, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's like, let's deal with this early.
Yes.
Let's figure
Yes.
out a plan and
Yeah.
let's move forward. And as long as you're working together,
Right.
the-
I think that's the key is you're working together on that. And that strengthens the marriage. Marriage is all about, learning how to handle conflict and learning how to do life together, and so I think that's the key is, you are doing it together. It's not one making all the decisions but we're working through this together.
I'm proud of our kids. I'm proud of who they've become. I remember when they were little, though, I always would make sure they knew, look, your mom comes first.
Right.
And because, she's going to stay here.
Yeah.
You guys are,
She's with me forever.
yes, you guys are moving on. And,
Yeah.
and I sometimes you hear the opposite, I'll do
It's all
anything for
about
my
the
kids
Yeah.
and we've gone far enough when the kids were little or they were just getting started, you could say, well, did we do it right?
Yeah.
And we made mistakes along the way. There's no doubt that some things, I wish we could have done different, but when I see up to this point where our kids are, and now that they're having their own kids, I can say, like Paul said, Paul said, follow me as I follow the Lord. And I feel like when it comes to parenting that we can challenge folks to,
Yeah.
follow us as we follow the Lord. And I think from day one, that's something that to me was always, I wanted them to know,
Right.
one, they're not going to dishonor your mom that way,
Yeah.
right? Challenge them if they dishonored you. And two is that they're second,
Right.
I
We
mean,
love them and we
right.
would do
Oh, yeah.
anything for them, but that because that's how God designed it to be. And that's how everyone is going to be happiest.
Yeah.
Kids might not always understand that, when they're younger, but that, this is how it's supposed to be. And this is what brings joy and contentment and peace is, when you do it God's way, the way that God designed it. But, in our own flesh, we can battle against that, and you often see that in families where, and I think maybe more so with women than with men, but where, as women, we can, it can be easy for some to put the kids ahead of the spouse. And, that nurturing, that caring, I'm not saying men don't have that, but we as women tend to have that more. And it's like, well, our kids need us. My husband's a grown man, or my kids need me. But, not realizing how detrimental that it can be to the marriage relationship.
And whoever's doing it, the man or the woman, the spouse knows it.
Right, right.
They can sense that.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
and again, it's easy to do.
yeah.
Especially if you're in a challenging
Uh-huh.
marriage or to isolate yourself and
Right.
isolate yourself with the kids and,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. So that's one of the things, when you think about the stress of holidays, family can be incredibly stressful. And it's not like those things take away the stress. You got to go visit, your parents, and maybe that's a good visit. Maybe that's a stressful visit. Maybe that's, but again, I think it's intentionally choosing to honor and to, we want to honor our parents.
Yeah.
We have a responsibility as our parents age, according to Scripture, to take care of them. And I think embracing those things, it's not dependent upon how they act or what they do or what they say, but just biblically.
Right. This is what
Yeah.
God's word says.
And then it leads, I think, to where we want to go
Right.
more than if
Yeah.
there's just always that tension, family can often, and then of course, if those who are dealing with multiple families, where there's been divorce, and so now they're having to decide between in-laws and ex-spouses and all those things, and it can get really, really complicated. And the only advice I have, and it's not from personal experience, it's just from watching folks along the way, is one, be intentional, be early.
Yeah.
What's our plan this year? Who's
Right.
going where? And then be honoring. If that's your daughter's father, it's your daughter's father. If
Right.
that's honor. Don't put the kids in the middle. Don't let the stress the kids out about and and it's also being aware of the fact that kids are going to be kids.
Yeah.
And teenagers are going to be teenagers.
Right.
And
They're
if they
gonna-
can manipulate you
Oh, yeah.
by telling you, oh, I don't want to go to dad's, or I
Yeah.
hate mom, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're very good at putting mom and dad against each other. Yeah.
yes. Or especially ex-spouses and
yes.
grandparents
Yeah.
and all those things. And you just have to pre-decide
Right.
is we're not
Right.
we're not going there.
Because in the moment, if we haven't decided that and, we're not intentional about that in the moment, we're probably not going to do that. If it's spur of the moment and
Right.
we're just reacting, we're probably not going to react or respond in the right way.
Yeah,
So
because anger, insecurity,
yeah.
all those things, and maybe you have an ex-spouse that is a pain.
Yeah.
The thing I think to remember is there's no value brought to the child by discrediting
Right.
the ex-spouse,
Right.
no matter what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? If you honor them, and I don't mean you let them take advantage of you, but if you honor them as your kids get older, they're going to respect what you did.
Right,
They're going to
right.
respect the sacrifices you made. But if at a young age you dishonor an ex-spouse or a
Yeah.
spouse or whoever it is in the family, then you're impacting the
Right.
health of the child right then.
Right.
So as they get older, now they've got to heal from
Right.
what they went through.
Yeah.
It just makes their life more challenging.
Right.
because in the moment we're hurting.
Right.
You know, it's like, how can you, I sacrifice and I've
Yeah.
done all of this for you, and you want to go to your dad's house or you want
Yeah.
to go to your mom's house.
Yeah.
And I totally understand those emotions and those feelings.
Yeah.
But again, the only way I've been able to deal when I deal with my emotions positively, because there are many times when I don't,
Yeah.
but it's because I'm ahead of them,
Mm-hmm.
thinking this
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm going into. This is what
Right.
I'm going to feel. And so this can be an incredibly, the kids are out of school, so they
Yeah.
got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you've got extended ex spouses or
Yeah.
fathers, sometimes they're not married. Maybe they just are the father of the child, you know, all that complication,
Right.
just do the best that you can to get ahead of it.
Yeah, because I think it's holidays like Christmas that's amplified.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that those things, something of course, I don't have that experience, but we all have difficult people in our life, that are just can be difficult, challenging. And, one of the things I always try to remind myself of and really pray through is, I always ask God to help me see them through His eyes, the way that He sees them. God loves them, He died for them, just like He did for me. And, it's like, God, help me to see them through your eyes, soften my heart. And because I think, yeah, in those situations, it can be if we're just in our own flesh and skin, we're not going to respond right, So it's like you said, being intentional. And things like asking God to help us see them the way that you see them. I think those are some of the things that we can do to be intentional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to like you said, get out in front
Yeah.
and pray. Begin to pray that God would
Yeah.
allow you to do that, and then there's the money stress, of course,
Oh yeah,
of
The big
spending too
stress.
much.
Yeah,
The culture again tells us that the
right.
way in which we show love or experience love
Yeah,
is through
giving the
gifts.
gifts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so again, that's just another place where you have to kind of wrestle through
right.
how much.
And again, I think it all goes back to being intentional, deciding beforehand, this is what we're going to spend. I always kind of think through, and of course, as our family has grown, it's even more important. Now we don't just have the 3 kids, but we got, 3 kids and 3 spouses and 4 grandkids, 2 more on the way. So, I always think through, okay, this is kind of budget wise, this is per child, grandchild, but because I know if I'm not intentional in that, then I'm going to look back after and realize, I spent way
Right,
too much money.
right.
So
Well,
it's,
you realize you're married to me,
yes,
so
yes,
if you don't get ahead of time,
exactly.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
easy to. There's
And
so much.
you're a great gift giver. Like your heart is for, you get more joy out of giving you do than
Mm.
receiving, And so I think, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. But so yeah, you could way easily go
give the
overboard.
give the
Yeah.
boat away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, that intent.
But that's a great trait.
Well, and working together as a team
Yeah.
and respecting the different roles
Yeah.
that each other have, and again, those things are built on. Like
Mhm.
the better we communicate, then the more things we can talk about, the more
Yeah.
we understand one another,
Right.
the more honest conversations we can have. All those
Yeah.
kind of things that allow what can be stressful not to be
Right.
stressful, and especially if you own a business or you're leading a ministry or where you're
Yeah.
not only responsible for what's going on in your own household, but also what's going on in the business or
Right.
like in our case the church,
Mhm.
right, where you've got ministry that has to be done, you've
Yeah.
got facilities, you've got people,
Right.
and that can be, plus you got your own
Right.
personal stuff, right? So you have to again just be really intentional or you
Yeah.
get overwhelmed,
Yeah.
and then you lose Christmas.
Right.
And
Right.
last year for me, I was it was a difficult Christmas. We moved,
Yeah.
just a lot of stuff happening,
Yeah.
and then you look back and you think,
I missed it.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you only have so many.
Right. Right.
And so
Yeah.
this year, one of the things we're doing is a series. We're going through the book of Malachi
Yeah.
before Christmas
Yeah.
to see, okay, the last book of the Old Testament before
Yeah. Which
we're
I'm
called
super excited about. Yeah.
Silent
Silent Night.
Nights. Yeah. So the
The
storm
storm
before
before the calm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we had
No, it
a
was
good kickoff.
last weekend was awesome, the kickoff. And yeah, I'm excited about, because you don't often hear about that.
Right.
I don't, in all of our years of ministry, it's like you don't hear a lot about Malachi and the 400 years of silence. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be a
Yeah.
great series.
Yeah. And it leads into Christmas.
Right.
So
The magic of Christmas. Yeah.
so I'm praying for it. We're trying to, for those of you listening, we're trying to put up a 55-foot cross
Uh-huh.
to share to our community. We live in a very unchurched community that
Yeah.
this is a place of hope.
Right.
That the impact of what Jesus did on the cross
Yeah.
can transform your life.
Yeah.
And so we're challenging folks to give above and beyond.
Yeah.
And there's always tension in that.
Yeah.
I don't know who all is listening, but to me, that's always a hard thing as a pastor, not because it's difficult to talk about it, but what, how people then, what they think you're doing,
Yeah.
right? Like anybody with a pastoral heart doesn't want to be manipulative, doesn't want to be controlling, doesn't want
Yeah.
it to be just about money.
Right.
But money is such a revealer, you might say, of where our heart is. That's what Scripture
Right.
says, right? And so, anyways, you've got people on strike, and you've got
Yeah. Everything going on in the
groceries, you got all
world.
that stuff
Yeah.
going on, and yet it's exciting to see what God's going to do, and learning to
Right.
trust Him in different ways,
Yeah.
and continuing to trust Him.
Yeah.
Sometimes the older we get, maybe the more cynical we get.
Mm.
And that's sad, right? But that's actually what this week we're going to talk a little bit about. So
Ooh.
we will see how
good.
it goes. But
Yeah.
I love Christmas. I love the music
too.
and the decorations.
Yeah.
And I think you always, Christmas has Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of that. But I've just always enjoyed the spirit
Yeah.
of Christmas,
Right.
and the excitement and the people who will engage
Mhm.
during Christmas to bring a toy,
Yeah.
or we do flip us a bird,
Yeah.
and all these folks will go out and get a turkey and bring, just because it's Thanksgiving.
Right. Right.
There's so much good that can be done during the holidays.
Yeah.
This year we have the hurricane in Jamaica and
Yeah.
Cuba, and to be able to do ministry. So
Yeah.
looking forward to a very exciting holiday
Yes,
season.
yes. I love this time of year. It's
Yeah.
my favorite. And we've even had a little bit of cool weather. So
Yeah,
it's
which
made
is
it
rare.
awesome. Yeah. Makes
Yeah.
it actually feel like Christmas.
I know some of you would probably love to have some warm weather, but
We'll send it your way.
it gets really old here,
Yeah.
and we've been here for 25, like you said,
Yeah.
25 years, and it's nice to get a little
Yes, a little bit of cool weather.
cool weather from time to time. Makes it feel like Christmas and
Yeah.
basketball season, which is another whole subject. Hey guys, I am so glad that you tuned in. We just took a few moments, kind of let you in to our kitchen table. Some of the things that Steph and I talk about when we think about the future, and we think about our family, and we think about the church, and where we've been and where we're going. And I hope that something we said either got you to think about something or challenged you in some way, and just share it. There's probably somebody that very idea might challenge them. Maybe you have a thought. Maybe you disagree with us. Maybe your experiences are different. Well, that's what the chat is all about. Just leave a comment, and we can have an incredible discussion about how do we prepare, as a family. I'm sure it's different as a single adult. How do we prepare for the holidays? Because they're coming. They're coming, whether you're ready or not. They're going to be here. So subscribe, share, and leave a comment. It does make a difference. The algorithm is king. We've learned that around here for sure. I hope you have an incredible, incredible holiday season. Hey, we're going to have lots more discussions coming in the very near future. There's lots of old content. I won't say old. There is used. What do they say? What do they say when they're trying to sell cars nowadays? They say, what? They don't say used cars anymore.
Oh, pre-owned. Like
Pre-owned cars.
Yeah.
There's pre-played content.
There you go.
So check out the pre-played content. Hey, if you'd like to hear some of our teaching, you can also go to our Potential Church channel. And I don't know where you're listening or watching from today, but we're on TBN Plus.
Yes. very exciting.
Yeah, we just did that, and we'll see how that works out. I hope you have an incredible day and a wonderful holiday season, and we'll catch you next time right here on the Troy Gramling Podcast. God bless, and you have a great day.